My next guest says Donald Trump is still an oath-breaking insurrectionist. Joining me now is Colorado's elected Secretary of State, Democrat Jena Griswold, who urged the Supreme Court to keep Donald Trump off her state's ballot. Madam Secretary, thank you for being with us. Give me more of your reaction to today.
Thanks for having me on. First and foremost, I would say it's good that the court issued a decision. Americans have been voting all across the nation in early voting in those Super Tuesday states, including here in Colorado. And Coloradans and Americans deserve to know whether Trump is a qualified candidate. My larger reaction is disappointment. I do believe that states should be able, under our Constitution, to bar oath-breaking insurrectionists. And ultimately, this decision leaves open the door for Congress to act to pass authorizing legislation. But we know that Congress is a nearly non-functioning body. So ultimately, it will be up to the American voters to save our democracy in November.
This was a unanimous decision, and it seemed pretty clear where it was going after the oral arguments in front of the Supreme Court. Is there anything within this decision that surprised you, though?
After oral argument, I'm not too surprised. I would have liked the decision a little sooner. As of Thursday night, over 400,000 ballots were already cast in the Republican primary for president. I think the larger picture is it's as clear as day what Donald Trump did. He incited that violent mob to rush onto the Capitol to try to stop the peaceful transfer of presidential power. And his attacks and his allies' attacks on our democracy have not stopped. Their lies and disinformation have led to massive voter suppression efforts, to threats against election workers, and actually attacks on our election infrastructure. And they're already laying the groundwork to undermine 2024. Regardless of this decision, American democracy still remains very much under attack and at threat. And this upcoming election will be crucial for democracy's survival in the United States.
Given how you see this case, given how a number of independent and some Republican voters in your state, the ones who brought this case, see Donald Trump, as you said, an oath-breaking insurrectionist, what do you make of the voters in your state across the country that still believe that he should be president and that he's still qualified to be president?
Ultimately, that will be a voter's decision. I think there's a lot of reason for voters to look really hard at this upcoming election. And what we have seen in swing states, swing districts, that in 2018, 2020, and 2022, American voters have stepped up to safeguard American democracy. Look, this upcoming election will have a big impact on our fundamental freedoms. The idea that women should have control over our own bodies, the idea that our democracy should remain intact, and some really basic agreement among Americans will be affected in this upcoming election. What I hope for is that Americans pay really close attention, and I am immensely hopeful and optimistic that, again, democracy will remain intact and this country will have centuries ahead of us with a strong representation.
Do you have confidence in the Supreme Court?
I would say as an office holder, it is my job to uphold the decision of the United States Supreme Court. And that's why I've always said from the beginning of this litigation that I'll follow what the United States Supreme Court decides, even if I disagree with them, which I do. I think the Supreme Court has issued bad decisions on democracy. I think what's happening in this country for American women is horrendous. The idea that the overturning of Roe is leading to women not even being able to access fertility treatment in the state of Alabama. And overall, again, the United States Supreme Court decision will not be the make it or break it as to whether democracy survives. The make it or break it will be the American people. And that's who I have the utmost confidence and trust in.
Do you think this court is partisan?
I think this court has had obviously some pretty big issues. Whether it has been, Clarence Thomas's wife's role, gifts that have gone unreported, And there are some pretty big decisions that have come out of the court that I highly disagree with, and I think strip Americans of our basic human rights and fundamental freedoms. With that said, we live in a country of rule of law. We have to respect the court's decisions while disagreeing with them. And honestly, I think that's something that MAGA Republicans could take a lesson from. It's okay to disagree with decisions and one another and not turn into violent rhetoric and attempts to steal elections. You win cases, you lose cases, just like elections. And what we need Donald Trump to understand is that there are losers and winners in elections. And if you lose an election, that does not mean it's stolen from you. And that does not give you the ability to have incite an assault on the United States Capitol and the country.
Colorado Secretary of State Jena Griswold, thank you very much for joining us.